and I'm ready. Okay. Okay. Is it working? I think it's, there we go. All right. All right, George. Well, if you want to get started.
Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. It's incredible to be connected to everyone here. And I'd like to welcome all our viewers to our discussion on light language. My name is George Ciados, and together with Amanda Rain, we've come together to connect you with some incredible guests who are here with us today to help you understand more about this powerful healing modality and what it's all about. We'll be starting with a getting to know our guests and some free-flowing questions and conversation around light language. And then we're hosting a guided Gaia activation meditation and light language ceremony sound healing at the end. So make sure you stick around for the healing and to join in. We're also coming together to help assist the planet in bringing positive healing energy and helping the collective frequency and vibration through our connection today. I'd like to invite our guests to introduce themselves and to tell us about their journey and how they've been able to use light language in their lives. So I think we're starting with Alexa, is that right?
Athena.
Yeah. Oh, so with Athena. Hi, Athena. I mean, Althea.
Althea.
Althea, yeah, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name's Althea. I am a light language channeler, among other things. My light language activated about 4 years ago. I did have a very powerful, intense experience. I had a near-death experience first, and then I had a very powerful experience in the desert with light language workers who worked on me. And I think that kind of opened things up. I've always had, you know, we all have channels. We all have a channel, like it's not, but I've always been quite in tune, quite intuitive. As a child growing up, I would get prophetic dreaming and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always been a part of my life to go into a more spiritual approach. Obviously, I had years where in my teens and stuff, it kind of like closed more down, and then it reopened up with my near-death experience, and just really like, yeah, everything opened up and I started receiving a lot of downloads. And, you know, when the information starts coming in so much, there's not really much you can do about it, but just really surrender, accept, you know, and allow. And then I first started with the hand movements. So first it started with movements. And then I think like a month or two later, my throat chakra opened up, and in the beginning it was more like sounds. Now it's an actual language. Generally I channel from my higher self, but I do channel different beings as well. So it really depends. It's a very expansive modality, and can be used for so many different things that I find it to, you know, to be a little bit constricting to just put it down to one thing and to one way of channeling, if it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And you've really encompassed how like there's a lot of parts to it, like it's the energetic frequencies that you get, but also the channeling, like being able to connect via frequency.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great great description. Cool. All right. Alexa.
Well, yeah, for me, my journey since 2007 and 2008 has been quite a rough ascension ride that's involved a lot of breaking down and mental health issues and working through that in quite a very difficult way, actually. And that occurring within the midst of an ongoing spiritual awakening, and where many things have happened. I've always been involved in healing to some degree, so that's always been there. But I'm a very human, but I have this other stuff going on as well. I'm a wholesome mess, is what I like to call it. And yeah, the light language first kicked in for me truly in early 2019, but it was coming in a year before that without me knowing. I didn't know what it was. I started seeing these symbols and drawing symbols and a couple of little utterances, but I would shut myself up because I thought I was just being weird. And but then I had quite a incredible adventure through 2018, which involved me jumping on a ship and going away on this adventure. And I think it felt like Mother Ocean really sort of like rocked me and moved all of this stuff up. And when I got off that ship, I got tipped into another dark night of the soul. And that dark night of the soul was really very dark and full of lots of terror and also a lot of physical pain. And at the same time, I was spending a lot of time with a really beautiful friend of mine who was battling with the old cancer journey at the time. And she's since passed away. She passed away last year. But she was a Christian. I don't follow any religious things. I never have. I wasn't brought up like that. It's just not been there for me. But my friend was Christian. And one day I heard her just really delicately doing something in her bed. She was bedbound, and it sounded really beautiful. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm praying in tongues. Does it sound strange?" And I said, "No, it sounds really familiar." And I was like, "Can I please listen to you?" And it was just beautiful and vulnerable and delicate and powerful, all of these different things all at the same time. And she could see that I was interested in it, and also knowing that I'm living my human design and I'm a sacral generator, so I just respond to yes no questions. She just said to me, "Would you like to have this gift of tongues?" And I had a sacral response, So she did a little Christian prayer and a little cross on my forehead to gift me with the gift of tongues from Holy Spirit, and that was it. Like, it just, I had one little nanosecond of hesitation where I thought, "Oh, hold back, what's going to happen, what am I doing?" And then my mouth just opened and it just came out, and it did not stop for days on end. And at the same moment that my mouth started speaking it, my hands went into action and started moving. And then within a few hours, I was sat down at a table drawing it and writing it. And I don't know, 60 hours later, I picked up my guitar and thought, what happens if I sing? And then I started singing it. So it was a massive explosion of it for me. But what I noticed, and it's like what my spirit, what my soul likes to do for me to get me to pay attention to stuff that's powerful, is it likes to do everything intensely with me. So that awakening and that ignition of the light language at that time, and it didn't stop. Within the first 3 hours of me doing it, because remember, I'd been in a really dark night of the soul period. It was like my mental and emotional health was seriously buggered at the time, and my physical body was in a lot of pain. And within those first 3 hours of doing all this light language, which was gushing out of me with power and gusto, my ear, which was deaf, had been deaf for a couple of months, and there was a lot of hand activity going on around the ear. The ear popped and opened so I could hear. About 75% of the pain I'd been experiencing, which was intense throughout my whole body, just went, about 75% of it. And my mental and emotional equilibrium, which had been totally up the spout for 6 months, like out of it, just recalibrated. And so that was my introduction to it, and that was what made me go, holy moly, what is this? This is powerful. I am paying attention, because I was initiated in an intense way, and it continued intensely like that in the beginning. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. amazing story, and very, very familiar. Both your stories are just very familiar. My awakening initiation into it was similar. I was in the midst of my spiritual journey, and ironically enough, it was when I thought that I had like reached the tip top of my crazy. I was finally like comfortable with my spirituality and what I was doing and how I was connecting with folks. And I was like, okay, this is me. This is my modality. And then I was drawn to Sedona, the Lions Gate, August 8th of 2018. I just had this whim of, let's go to the desert. So I go to Sedona, and it's the full moon and it's midnight, and I'm drawn to Bell's Rock. And I'm there in this just amazing sacred space on planet Earth. And I have this interaction with this energy that literally comes off out of this rock formation. And I'm given this download that I don't understand. I have no idea what it was. It was just felt like this bolt of light right to my third eye crown chakra that just a pulse down my spine that I couldn't explain. I felt hot. I felt warm. Brushed it off of, oh, this is just one of my Amanda moments. I go back to the campsite. I go back home. Days pass, weeks pass, and I'm in bed. I'm listening to a meditation, and all of a sudden I start to hear speech. I start to hear talking, but I don't recognize the talking. And I'm like, I didn't know this was a guided meditation. So I pull out my earbuds and I realize, oh, it's me. So I'm just in this meditation and spontaneously start speaking this, what is this? What is this language? What is this vibration? And, I was very freaked out. I didn't know I had no idea what light language was. Started Googling some things, started pulling up some different people's YouTubes, and figured out, oh, that's what this is. And very honestly, I told my guides, I told my higher self, like, no, I'm not doing this. This is another level, and I'm not ready to go to that level. I just got comfortable here, and I literally heard, this is the next step. You want the next step. This is the next step. So I did some integrating. I did some processing. And at that time I was doing a lot of art. I was, doing a lot of mandalas. I was doing a lot of sacred geometry, that sort of thing. And that sacred geometry, those mandalas started to turn into symbols. And I didn't know what the symbols were. I didn't know what they meant. I felt very guided to draw these symbols and put them on my wall. And, there was a period of time where my entire wall was covered with all of these shapes and symbols. And slowly but surely, I started to put this download, and, the previous download I had got, I started putting all this together, and of course, information that I'm pulling from different synchronistic sources that I'm just finding, and people are reaching out to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's, we know how we put things together, right? So it came, full circle, and I realized that this was my next specialty. And, my question with it was always to my guides was, well, what now? How do I incorporate this? How do I work with clients? What am I to do with this? And, I was shown signs for, well, share. Now that you can do this, share it. And, then I was really like, no, I'm not, there's no way. but again, I heard that, my purpose was to share it. And if I wasn't going to continue sharing it with the collective, then all of the progress, all of the downloads would stop. So it was kind of like, either you share it or you lose it kind of thing. You lose it or you lose it. So, yeah, that's kind of where I am now with it.
Incredible, yeah, incredible, amazing stories. And I know they're more, they're not stories, they're experiences. And I think where I'm coming from like say the beginner kind of point of view, is that a lot of this is like sort of a little bit hard to believe for, say, like the everyday person going out there, living, working, doing stuff. like a lot of people probably don't even have time to even think about like spirituality or high dimensions or the collective in the same kind of way that everyone here has been able to access. So it was interesting to hear as well with Alexa that she was like initiated into it, in that it's an actual process, because about 20 years ago, I felt like I had a Taoist massage and I was initiated and I went vegan, and it didn't last long sort of being in a Greek family that there's traditionally meat eaters. But I mean, I still resonate with that vegetarian, like sort of, and then I do recognize that you know, the importance of clean eating, clean nutrition, as far as being able to channel and you know, purifying the body frequency and vibration wise, being able to access say things like light language or multidimensionality. So I'd love to hear your perspective on how that can integrate with someone who's like, say, a beginner in being able to sort of get there, I guess.
Yeah, who wants to go first with that question?
Okay, I can answer.
Sure.
So I think it's different for everyone. There are some general guidelines, I would say. So if someone wants to start connecting with high vibrational frequencies like light language and whatnot, so we can transmute anything. So really, like, to an extent it matters and it doesn't matter. So the way it worked with me and the way how I work personally, I can talk only from, you know, my experience and how it's worked for me, is I don't eat meat or fish, and I haven't had in 10 years, but I do know really incredible light language channelers who eat meat, because when your frequency reaches a certain point, doesn't matter to a certain extent what you put in, you can transmute it. So being healthy is important. Like, I figured out also for me that I need to maintain a very a physical balance that I have between grounding, so physical exercise, and doing something like yoga. So I find that I need to do a lot of movement and a lot of physical exercise to maintain my body fit, to be able to withstand the actual frequency and the actual channel. Sometimes it happens when I'm doing live clearings that I've got 100 people's higher selves all at the same time that I'm working with. So my body needs to be physically fit to withstand that. But for someone who is just starting and who wants to just raise their frequency, things like removing meat or finding, you know, organic stuff, and eating fresh fruits and vegetables, and just, you know, doing the healthy things that we get taught to do when we grow up, really helps. Also meditation. Like, I used to meditate for long. Now I don't need to. I'll meditate for like 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Even my clients, I never say to them, oh, you need to meditate for 2 hours to, like, you can if you want to, but we need to also be realistic. You know, it's in the world we live in. People don't have 2 hours in the morning when they wake up before going to work to give to meditation. So everything is a tool and everything can be used in different ways. But generally, I would say, yeah, like, hydrate yourself, exercise, just, you know, eat your vegetables. Stay also in a place of gratitude. I find that really helps me. I wake up in the morning, I sit in gratitude for 5 minutes before I do anything to start my day, because it really sets a tone for my whole day, and for also being in a state of abundance. Because if you're grateful, then, you know, you're also in abundance throughout your day. So I think there's different tools for different stages, if it makes sense. So for people who are just starting off, I would say, yeah, try to, you know, be fit, exercise. If you want to eat meat, try and really eat organic and whatnot, or take it out for a short amount of time and then reintroduce it slowly, if you really have to. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect, yeah, I agree with all of that. And it is a very individual thing. It's all about initiations, and we're all initiated in different ways. And if you think about the chakra system, so, you know, some people may get their initiations from root chakra. So they may be just feel guided to, oh, I want to start working out, I want to start eating right. Some people may get initiations from the crown. They may just start experiencing lucid dreaming or, prophetic visions, that sort of thing. Some people may be initiated through the heart space, and that could be through great loss, or so we're all initiated in different ways, and it is a very individual thing, as well as, it depends on your base level of consciousness. Some people come in a little more online awake, so to speak, than others. So, and that doesn't mean that they're behind in any sort of ways. It's just where their stream of consciousness lies, where their connection lies. And yeah, so it's a very individual thing. And I think it's most important to get people connected to their higher selves, to their heart space, so that they can follow their intuition and figure out what's really best for them.
Yeah. And yeah, for me, like I said, when the light language was originally trying to kick in 2018, this was when I was first developing my conscious connection with my higher self, learning how to hear it, see its words that it was speaking to me, and that all happened very quickly, and I started typing it down, and the first transcript, which was 3 pages, A4 pages on my computer, that my higher self was literally writing in my head, and I was just copying it and writing it down, was telling me about this new language that I was going to get, and I had no idea what it was talking about, and I was not conscious of it as I was writing it down. It was only when I went back and read it afterwards, and then when I read it afterwards a year or so later, was like, wow, okay, so this is interesting. But yeah, it's really different for everybody, because we're so different. For me, this, like, being a light worker, light warrior, it's like slipping and sliding around in this hyper multi-dimensional kaleidoscopic slippy climbing frame. And you just can't get a grip anywhere of anything. And 1 minute you're over here with this like talent, and the next minute you're over here with this skill, and the next minute you're submerged in this intensity, and then the next minute you're popped out in total emptiness. And it's kind of like that for me. So there's no structure for me with everything that's really deeply connected to my soul as a total life of its own in me. It's not related, it's not situational often. I'm not reactive situationally to my life. It's like these arisings that happen from the soul. So like I said, when my friend Claire activated the light language, which for her was the gift of tongues, I see it both as the same thing, kind of. And I said it had so much power. It was like the urgency of it was pushing it through me. I couldn't stop it. It was like trying to hold back a reservoir that's gates had just opened. I couldn't hold it back. And that was then. And I'd still get moments when that occurs. I feel it like coming up, and it's like, ooh, okay, I need to start speaking light language. And it comes out with so much power. And then there's other times when it's just so quiet, and it's really an effort to activate it. And this is what I find is key, probably, to inform people that are unfamiliar with it, or are wanting to open to it but feeling a little bit maybe self-conscious, or the mind is kicking in, or they're kind of believing it's this whole other power that's going to come in and consume them and take them over. It's not. It's something you kind of work with. And what I've found quite often, apart from when it's coming with its own power, which it does, it comes in these surges and it comes through me, and it's just happening. But that isn't all the time. When I want to be using the light language and I have to activate, I have to really stir it up. So I have to deliberately start speaking it, start moving my hands, and start moving my body. And there might be resistance there still sometimes, but what happens is when you start and you begin and you start stirring it up, then it's activating its own fire, it's putting energy into its own, it's fueling itself, it starts fueling itself, and then my body starts moving, and then and then my hands are going, and then it's activated, you know. So there's a lot, I would say, for people that are new to it, don't expect it to just come into you and to just do it through you. Like, call it in, embrace it, call it in, welcome it in, and it might come through gently, it might come through powerfully, you might need to make some effort to stir it up, but it does start generating its own energy in the very action of speaking the light language. It's like it's speaking its own language to its own self, waking its own self up and activating it with whatever the codes are that are coming through.
Love it. Yeah. It's definitely fuels itself for sure. Yeah. So what would you guys say, somebody looking at this and being very skeptical? So I'm talking of a very beginner, a skeptical person. How would they to somebody who's just popped in?
Ooh. I would probably out there. I'm one of the biggest skeptics ever, you know. But what I find when I'm really response to a situation like that, when you're with us, is just take a moment and settle into your heart and allow the light language to come through and speak the light language, and let them just be in the energy of that. And they can be skeptic, but the thing is it's the heart, it's the soul that it's expressing itself. It isn't the mind, it's not the ego, it's not the human trying to defend itself. So all of these like defensive, or I'm right and you're wrong, or any of these kind of energies are just not present in the language of light at all. So when you start speaking the language of light, it's kind of paving and mapping an easier way for you to maybe then grab hold of the English words for their understanding to say, but incorporate it into that that communication that you're trying to get across. Remember, you've got this powerful, the language of DNA, you've got it there, and let that speak, and let the skeptic be the skeptic, and use it as part of your explanation. That's what I would do.
Sorry guys, everything froze, so I actually didn't hear what you were asking. So if it looked like I wasn't listening, it's because my whole screen froze and I couldn't hear anything, and then it came on as you were talking. But I think you asked to give advice if someone's just starting with light language. Is that what you were asking?
Right. And how would you explain it to someone who's very skeptical?
Oh, someone who's skeptical. I would explain it in terms of vibration and frequency. Anyone can relate to that. So it's a vibration, it's a frequency that works, you know, on a molecular level on your DNA. Anyone can relate, you know, to the sounds, to the tones, like you know, like you said, the Christians speaking in tongues. And it's so interesting that you mentioned that, because just this weekend I met with someone, and he was brought up from a very Christian background, and he had been speaking in tongues and he had no idea. And I was doing a healing on this other person, and he heard and he said, oh my goodness, this is what he recognizes, like this is what I speak, but so many people have spoken it, but they didn't know and they didn't realize. So I would say for someone, yeah, who's skeptical, listen with the heart, as you, Alexa, as you mentioned. You know, it's what I also always say in my videos. Don't try to understand. Don't try to make sense of what I'm saying. Listen with an open heart. And it really also, like for me, it depends, because then sometimes I will be in light language, then I will go into English and then into light language. So even when I speak in English, I just say to them, doesn't matter if you don't have to understand, just, you know, be open, and the codes will go where they're supposed to go. And if you need to integrate, you'll integrate the specific codes. If some don't need to be integrated, then you won't integrate them. And I also believe that because of the frequency of light language, what I've noticed since I've been public on multimedia platforms is that I was expecting, when I first started channeling and came out, to get a lot of people going, oh my goodness, like, you know, getting psychic attacks and stuff like that. But actually, because of the frequency of it, it just skims past. So people who want to, like, you know, trolls or whatever, they don't even see it, because it's so I think that's really beautiful and quite interesting. So it goes where it's supposed to go. And I've seen, especially since the last Lionsgate portal opening in August, how, like, before I would get contacted maybe 2-3 people a month contacting me that they were activated. Now I get 4-5 people a week who contact me saying, I've been activated, what do I do? My light language is opening, what do I do? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's really beautiful and incredible. It's like that snowball effect, you know, that's connecting all of us.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's definitely an exponential, you know, because the frequencies are so high, like you say, it is. It's like, you know, those lower dimensional fields literally can't see or hear what we're doing. And there's this protective field over the dimensional field that we create with these codes. And you're absolutely right. They go where they need to. And this language is one of the things, and I'm sure you've received in downloads too, is that this specific language is as if our DNA could speak. And when you transcend all of the other human languages that get very confusing and convoluted, and then there's slang, and then there's extra words that the teenagers make up, you know, and there's all this there's all of this context and this negativity and different meanings behind words. Well, light language transcends all of that, and it transcends, like Alexa, that you said, the mind, the ego, and it speaks directly to the heart. And the translation, I'm sure you guys get a lot of questions. Well, what is this? What are you saying? What does this mean? And you know, and what I always tell people is, well, I think one component of it is that maybe we're not, as channels, meant to understand it, because if we were to try to understand it, it still has to go through all of our filters and our veils and all of the experiences that, you know, that the human Amanda has been through, and then it gets convoluted even more. So there may be an aspect of it that we're just not really meant to translate it. And if we could, you know, one 5 to 10 second spiel of light language could be 300 books. I mean, it could be so much information that we couldn't throw it, you know, blah, 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 blah. You'd have to talk for an hour to try to explain what was coming through. So that's kind of how I would explain that.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
beautiful.
unlimited, isn't it?
It is very unlimited, and that's what's so beautiful too, is the codes go where they want to, and it's those messages are going to be different for every single person, is going to get something specific out of it, and it's going to target something that they need. And I always, you know, the movie Jurassic Park, when they're showing the animation in the beginning of how they splice the DNA and put the frog DNA, I always imagine those missing pieces in the DNA. And, you know, somebody may come to me or you or anybody, light language activator, and be like, you know, I've got this thing in my life I'm missing, or I need to get through. I have this trauma. And it's almost like this disconnect between DNA, right? And it's our code. It's that code that's going to go in there and kind of, you know, realign it, readjust it, merge with the codes that are coming out. That's going to create that new connection and that new synergy in that person, to where something sparks back online. So yeah.
Oof.
It's exciting stuff, right? And I think that's why, you know, since I had my download and my activation, one of the, you know, this picture in my head, so I don't put a lot of weight on religion or the Bible, we'll say, but I am versed in a lot of different religious texts. And there's one quote in Revelation, it talks about the 144,000, right? And this was one that, as a kid, it just went, whoa. the 144,000 will sing a song that no one else can hear, right? And to me, that brought open this this vision of all of these different light language channelers and specialists around the world, around you know, maybe even different planetary systems, right? Speaking this code. And it's almost like you know, we put our code or our keys into this gear, this grid, and all of a sudden you've got all of this code and things are complete, and you've got this where these this merging gear effect of like, this is how we shift into a higher dimension as a collective. So something that I always had in my on the back burner, so to speak, was connecting with different specialists and being able to put these codes in effect. And you know, because as you know, it's so very profound when it's just one. So what would it look like if you had other people? You know, you have this trifecta effect of exponentially being able to shift through these multidimensional layers of reality and actually raise the collective frequency to a level that everybody could experience to some degree.
Oh, it's so exciting. I see similar things as well, Amanda, of yeah, those thoughts have been with me a lot, of the more and more people are waking up to this like original voice of theirs, this prayer voice, this DNA language, this like, and more people are waking up and allowing it to come through, and we're like these sonic, like amazing alchemical beings that are making all of these sounds in unison, and that's happening. They're popping up more and more and more around the whole planet, and it's a big vision, but it makes so much sense, doesn't it, that it's the frequency and the sound and the vibration that's coming through that's assisting this shift that's going on. And oh yeah, it's just the idea of getting, I mean, I would so love this to happen, like masses of people together to pray in light together. This is a big thing that's going on for me as well, that I'm wanting to be part of, because that's just, bring it on.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I had this experience about 2 months ago that I work a lot in the astral. So they send me to work all over the planet, not as much galactically, but mainly around the planet, just to clear spaces and cities, mainly in cities. They send me sometimes in nature and forest. Anyway, this was about 2 months ago. I think it was around September. I was sent up with another like maybe 200-300 light workers in the astral body, and we were sent up and around the earth, and we were all put like levitating around the earth with the archangelic collective, with all the angels, which, like, it sounds funny, but they actually were singing and had instruments, and we were all like singing codes of love and frequency onto the earth, like all around the earth, like just outside the atmosphere. And it was crazy, because I just literally got that image back again now as you said it, and that is literally that is happening, just that, you know, not everyone maybe remembers it. So whenever I have these experiences, it's really beautiful to have a platform to spread it on, because then I'll get people who say, oh my God, yes, I remember, I was doing this, I was doing that. So even for everyone who's listening, you might not feel like at times you're doing, but actually you are, because you know you have a whole other you know, you're multidimensional, so there's whole other aspects of you that are still working and helping, even subconsciously.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So when you think of individual energy healing, you think of somebody coming to you saying, my chakras are out of alignment, tune me up, right? Our bodies are instruments. We do need constant tuning. So that's why, you know, the sound healing, the light language is so important, because it's literally tuning the individual. But from a larger standpoint, with all of these individualized souls coming online and being able to speak their code, like you said, with the instruments, we are doing this energy work on the planet. We are, as individuals, as a collective, tuning Mother Earth back into alignment, because at the moment we are dissonant. Earth, Gaia, the collective is at a dissonance, and it's not that it's a bad thing or negative, it's just where we are and it's how we grow. It's that uncomfortable phase of we're pitchy. We're all a little bit pitchy right now. And now we've got these light warriors, these light workers just everywhere popping up, waking up in different aspects, and they have different specialties. And then we've got light language people, and it is this collective tuning of our of Mother Earth, and that all trickles down to us, and it's all this one microcosm and a macrocosm, and it's quite beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, so George, let's go back to some questions here. I feel like I'm spinning out into the universe. Hold me back.
You've covered so much information as well, and I really like, Amanda, actually how you explained the chakra activations before, like, because it was so practical in that, when you have a heart activation, something happens, and then the energy gets more intense in that area. I'm not sure if it's frozen. Has it frozen? No, it has.
You're good.
And so, oh yeah, it's still going. That's all right. And yeah, and you really relate it back to each of the chakras and how they impact your daily life. So something that's unseen can then be actually like really relatable, because you're actually explaining like how it works. And that's why I love actually connecting with all of you, because you really help make the unseen practical, connecting, like for everyone that's sort of living in a materialistic world. Like, there's so much more available, and it's people like yourselves that are really like able to bring that connection in for the people that have sort of had those experiences of requiring extra healing or extra tuning up or extra energetic work to become a little bit more sensitive in those ways. And I really appreciate it so much, because you're just such a wealth of knowledge and such a wealth of experience. And you can really see the difference in the way that like you're able to express it clearly. Like when you're coming from the heart, naturally the conversation flows and the ideas get expressed. But even like what you were saying with, say, a download, something that you experience would then take like, say, 300 books to actually write. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, where they get the ideas, and myself especially, like the mind, it's so expansive, but then when he tries to funnel through a material experience, it's just sometimes doesn't come out exactly the way that, but it's tuning it, and it's developing. Sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent, but
Okay.
I really appreciated all that wealth of knowledge. And as far as questions, a lot of them were really covered, like where does it come from, frequency and vibration, the chakras, the energy centers, how we can develop it, hearing your stories. I think it's just incredible, like everything that you've all said.
Awesome. Well, does anybody have, I know we're probably going to go over the time that I set. I'm so sorry. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to this before we kind of transition into this meditation activation of planet Earth?
I think for me, just what I want to say is to people to just stay open. You know what I mean? Just stay open in acceptance. And even if you don't understand something, and even if maybe the first times you don't necessarily even feel something, try again. The codes will go also where, as we said before, where they're supposed to go. So just, be open and in a space of non-judgment. And that initial perhaps reaction that you might have a little bit like that is just your ego. So just try and be in a space of openness and understanding. And I mean, that's how we grow, when we outside of our comfort zone. So it's just important to be aware of that.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, and I would like to add that we're talking all of this about the light language, but what is it to us? Like, why is it beneficial to us? And I think one of the best terms I've heard described it is by a French woman called Audrey Mack, who teaches about the gift of tongues. Because when I was wanting to research light language. There's so little
Mhm.
online to research. Everyone's just speaking light language, and that's why it's so brilliant, Amanda, that you're doing this, like, to have a conversation about it, because we need to hear what is it about, and blah blah blah, you know. And so I was researching a lot of people that were teaching about tongues, because I know it's a very, if not the same thing, a very similar thing. And the term that she uses to describe tongues, which is the same that I would use to describe light language, is that it is a spiritual bulldozer. And I love that term, because it really truly is. I mean, that's how it is for me. It's like, you know, if something's going off in your life, or you're tipping out of balance, or there's a confrontation, or there's a problem arising, or there's a solution that's needed, or a difficulty, or you just need to break down and melt down and cry and scream and pray, then let the light language come through. And what's happened, like I said earlier, you know, it's like my DNA is speaking this light language with urgency through me, because it knows that it's the best thing to do, and it knows when to pipe up with it. And I might not know what's in the future timeline coming, but the light language seems to know. And I get, when it comes through me in power, it goes on for hours, and it can go on for days, like, and I'm just loving it. I'm just like really fully in it. And then it's like I'm speaking this code into that, like I said, multi-dimensional kaleidoscope that I'm walking through. And it's like arranging, it's breaking down everything that needs to be broken down, while simultaneously building up everything that needs to be built up, with this sonic alchemical prayer of light language, which is beyond your human understanding. But all the cells of your body, your entire heart and soul, is just in this language, using it. Even though you can't understand it, use it, just do it, and then watch what happens as a result of you doing it. Like, really stir it up, and then enjoy the hindsight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think anybody who has either experienced a light language healing or channel, or is doing it themselves, it is very clear that it affects you. Being a channel, and I'm sure you guys resonate with this as well, it gives me such a I always say it's like drinking 10 cups of coffee without the caffeine effects. It's just such a boost. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you know, having the paddles when your heart is like being, you know, brought back to life. It's this unbelievable blissed out vibration. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm literally vibrating.
Yeah.
When you feel those physical effects of this language, you get, at least I got to a point where there's no ego in it anymore. You can't, you see it, you feel it, you understand it to a degree where your ego just kind of goes, oh, okay, I guess it's real. I can't argue with you anymore. I guess it's real.
Amanda,
So
that's such a great point, because I've totally felt that with all of your light language healings. It's incredibly physically powerful. Like, there's times actually after one of Altair's healings, but I'd be like completely exhausted. My body's just like gone through so much. And then the dehydration as well. Like, if you don't keep up the water, it really brings out the dehydration. If you just got to really keep topping up water. And it's really physical, like areas of the body feeling the sensations, especially, Amanda, one of your like heart opening meditations as well. It was just, very physical.
There's one
Awesome.
thing that I also wanted to quickly add before I forget. This can help also people understand with the hand movements. So when I started, and for the way how I see it, so when I move, I'm actually pulling in coding that I'm anchoring into the 3D construct of the grid. So I'm actually seeing the light It's like coming through, coming in, and then anchoring the hand movement inside the grid. So that helps to raise the frequency or activate or whatever it is. So I think it's to make it more tangible for people to understand. I know for me, I've always had vision activated. So for me, I see it. So I'll see the geometry, I'll see the codes, I'll see the sounds and stuff like that. I know that not all light language channelers do. Some work differently, but that's how for me is the best way to explain it. So for the hand movements, because a lot of people ask me like, why are you moving your hands? What's coming through, and yes, there's energy coming through the palms and whatnot, but when you're actually anchoring, so for me, when I'm doing grid work, when I'm working on the construct, when I'm doing collective work, I'm actually anchoring into the system, and I'm anchoring codes and light. Really, it's light. It's just light into the grid. So I hope that explains a little bit, also more in detail, so people can understand.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Can I just add quickly to that, because it makes me laugh so much. Like, it's the same, like, yeah, you're doing all of this hand work. It's really to keep up with it. It feels like you need a billion pair of hands, because there's because there's like a billion, and in a way you have got a billion pairs of hands, because you're speaking the light language and you're moving in a certain way. It's like you are so dynamically it's so hard to wordify, but yeah, you're grabbing so many different codes, and like your light body, your Merkaba is just moving really fast, and you're speaking these codes, and you're grabbing them, and you're putting them everywhere. It's like I'm grabbing all of these jigsaw puzzle pieces and putting them into the new puzzle placements, and it's just and people are watching you. And I often get people, because I go out dancing outside, and I do all of this light language, and people are often asking me if I'm doing some kind of Tai Chi or the I just say something in light language. And then
it's all the same thing. All of that is interrelated. Tai Chi and yoga, it's these body movements. Certain yoga moves you can pop open your root chakra just like that. So it's I mean, it's all of the same thing. I often think, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie Doctor Strange, but there's a I know we get subtle disclosures in our movies, right? But in that movie, they're moving these mandalas in the sacred, they're pulling this one, and they're pulling that one, and they're pulling this one. And so, yeah, it's great. It's physical light grid work is what we're doing, and actually moving these spaces and manipulating these spaces through energy. And so I'm glad we went over that for sure. Awesome. Well, I feel like we could be talking for hours.
Yeah.
Do we feel like doing some Gaia work?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I invite everybody who's been listening, if you want to continue listening to this part of the guided meditation, to kind of find, I know I'm all worked up from talking about light language, take a couple deep breaths in your belly, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And kind of find that heart space, open up our heart space, and get really comfortable in that area. So thank you for being here. The intention of this guided meditation is to connect and align to the collective, to expand our Merkabas and unite our hearts and minds. We intend to use our coherent frequency to be broadcast through time and space, to initiate and facilitate the highest, most optimal timeline. We intend to collectively activate Gaia's crystalline grid and send healing, strength, and peace through all levels of multidimensionality. Alongside the guided meditation, I will be speaking light codes as well as my collective here with me to assist in aligning the optimal frequencies, vibrations for this global healing. So now I invite you to take a deep breath. We are the Rainbow Bridge. We are the light workers, the grid workers, the way showers, and the star seeds. We serve our mission and our purpose every moment just by being who we are. And time is fluid. We shift through our existence by aligning our frequency with the experience we wish to perceive. We resonate with the paradigm that serves us and our spiritual evolution to its highest potential outcome. We are awake, activated, online, and present. We serve the light. We serve the collective. Peace, love, balance, and harmony. So before we begin, I call in the four pillars: Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Gabriel. I ask these light beings to stand strong with us. Hold this space. Hold this space. And take a deep breath into your belly. See, sense, or feel a golden orb in your heart chakra. With every breath, feel this orb expand. With your first breath, feel this orb expand to encompass your body. With the second breath, feel this orb expand to encompass your state. With this third breath, feel this orb expand to encompass your country. United, we stand for our collective countries. United, we stand for planet Earth. No sabab kotana tashine, otara pavotona ita senona habitita, moshemetera akana itoro fushini, matorakama yite. Our intention is to connect and align with Mother Gaia's crystal core. We send a reddish, silvery cord of love and light from our root chakra to Gaia's core. Now we send love and appreciation to Mother Earth. As she receives this love and appreciation, she sends it back in a beautiful cord of golden light. Now send a gold and rainbow cord of love and light from our crown chakras to the great central sun. Send love and appreciation to the great central sun. And the great central sun receives this love and light, sends it back, a golden spiral. And feel this frequency enter your crown, mix and mingle in your heart chakra now. And so now you are connected in this sacred trinity, sacred unity, through time and space. Together as a collective, we expand and extend this frequency. We expand and extend this pulse throughout our known universe. See, sense, or feel yourself in your golden orb hovering above Mother Earth. And see or sense, feel all of the other golden orbs, multitudes. Brothers and sisters, our light worker, grid worker, way shower, star seed family. Our soul tribe, 144 sealed servants. We are the guardians, Mother Earth, one collective, one consciousness, one love. Matara otara kashitere. Osha, 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 omanadariyawa. Together we make up the crystalline grid that surrounds our great Mother Gaia. We are the rainbow bridge that connects the great central sun to Gaia. We are the conduit for these frequencies, vibration, the pulse, the wave. And we hold the line, we part the sea, we hold the space for this event, this merging of dimensional energies, and the ushering in of higher dimensional energy, the ascension into higher consciousness. And take a deep breath and know that this shift is happening now. It's happening now. So now I invite you to see, sense, or feel a golden wave emerging from the great central sun, and see the energy build and the plasma wave expanding and growing, extending faster than light, faster than sound. Feel its vibration deep in your heart chakra. Take a deep breath in. Remember who you are as you hold the vibration of peace, love, balance, and harmony. Allow this incoming wave of love and light, pure photonic bliss to wash over you. And pure love and light floods Mother Gaia and all its beautiful beings, and the crystals, minerals, plants, trees, animals that crawl, swim, run, fly. Humans coast to coast. This light washes over all. Take a deep breath in. See, sense, or feel the hum, the vibration, frequency of creation, the Om. Peace, love, harmony, balance. So now I invite any codes that want to come in to this healing.
Harinantika alakurunu musuatri la kishli rnyana na katerikuala. Unsuku adifremo look adrinona chi enrek arino monopa sieter como muru echilindar arina. Siala harino ut urk elena shalak urumo undruk ari hiakununo. Chris andarik ariana.
Naya tashuto kroya machetara sheto kroya na chat kraya matkra. Nea teo chotorie chat kria onyocho puno toro shit krayat krayo shono to koram kreat kruashinat kra. Jot krajne te achiet kroai matia no to chot kria te karat kreet krot krat nat kruaset kruan mat krayo to chot kroa. Jut kura nat kreot kura ta yashema to yote karachit kruasenat kriema to chot kroa. Te anet krajo čut njera matot usa de krua mat krio šoto ko tera šena ta kadime to čuto kora siet krio to kora šia calling in calling in divine light 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 divine rays coming in anchoring niamo to shit kraso to koya macha karaji to tiena tara chet krai matero stot kruate ero to riano to koramet kraya na shat kra opening systems calling in more light calling in more codes of love, codes of truth, codes of understanding, universal knowledge, anchoring nyamar shoto kosho chieta karachieno toro siet kraima torochi te anachat creo sot crua mateo rotoriet ishete korosi nat creo choromit cruataka tayat creo chona kraimit rotaret kriana ta korot krasiet kromate karachiat krasa Oyo to china marasiet unata karaiet oro niatoro miataka rosiet inatero chit kram teoro shot kroasiet kraya mat kraya shunotoko taima toro shot kraya siet kraya nat krio toro shit kray matoro to tutaret krat narat krio shot kroasiet kraya kra okay Naya parasit crochet kraya shit crochet clear releasing opening calling in more light coming in anchoring activating Naya to rat krasit kroyo machakora sit krai Taina tero tot kriet krasi mat kruat kri not kruasiat kermo to korashe ni et kruasiet miatek krasot korashe nat kream to korashet kra. Okay, ja to shono ni atera shit kra clean releasing io to roshet krasi si nat kriosho to korochi charmat krasi ot krosi si it's like a peripheral clearing that they're making me do shirmata krashit krosa anything that is attached to the auric field that shouldn't be there should be releasing now more light golden rays coming in pushing through pushing out pushing out clearing releasing opening systems more codes coming in anchoring yara no to chot krasi to yoshotoko tiane shot kriashit kurosiet kaya you might feel nausea tiara mashot kurosiet krayet kra yet kro initiate kra pressure in the stomach yamato kurosiet krasi otoko tiana tarot kruasie matiochot kruasie chakraset kraya nat kraishi to kuromasit krayet krat shot kruasie nat kri yatioshot kuroma chakraset kraisi ot kruasie to kuro shot kier kurosiet kra inyet kra mishot kurosiet kraya nat no mate achit kurosia Tierma chodotu tiena set kriat cherma tera set kruanat kreat shut cross kraso yomoto chukorasiatka Yuto korashiena ta miena ta shit korasia ta rashi sa. Yeah, I'll be clearing for a few hours. Yema torosho ta tesho to koniana niro to chot korasia chakarashia matakarachit korasia kra. Te achet krania nio tkra yet kreo so to chot kra masaka chatare si kioro shot kroya mataki niena to yo takaya natarashi Naya shan, naya shan, naya ta 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 ta. Shisa sa 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 sanata yo choto koto 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 chaka taka taya pachaka taka takata taka takata nia te arashiate.
So take another deep cleansing breath in. So I thank all who participated, and anybody seeing this at any time, know that there's only one now. So if you're hearing this, it's meant for you in this now. I thank all of the guides, higher selves that were involved in this meditation, channel, healing, grounding for Gaia. Send love and appreciation out to all our galactic entities and beings. Sotaraka machine, bueno. Fashe katana aitea. Atu kamachine kenebeshuna. Ate konamapachine vete washine keniauta. Natakana nichine. Oh. Mi te korwatana chintana kehenia hota. Machine. Sotarafashine tiana. Nasekatana iya. Thank you, Sonov. Whew. We can't finish this until Alexa, would you please?
I would.
Oh,
Now, just give me a little second to just check the tuning on this guitar. So I've literally
Sure.
just restrung it.
of course. So just a little caveat to anybody listening. Some things you may experience after listening to an activation like this are a lot of clearing, could be energetic clearing, could be physical clearing. You could be very emotional, as I just got, sorry. You could, a wide range, a variety of things could happen. Stay very hydrated, be in water, take a bath, take a shower, let those energies flow. And whatever comes up is meant to come up. So allow those things to occur. Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, just do everything Amanda just said. And just, yeah, love yourself, be gentle.
Take time.
Yes.
And if something starts activating, because you know your own light language could start activating, just allow, and enjoy.
Yes.
Okay, so when I sing light language on the guitar, I never really know what I'm doing or what chords are going to happen. So let's just see. Mondulai e prendo sofé. Burunendiri chiara e parambarasa. Bilalori mitzvai alla falla rumor sabori. Bilenienderi fai alla lori. Morfrile solo non ricche. Rumai sarena. Rina malwe diamond. Motuli che sienda. Nielo. Non mai attenti. Il letto mostro fi. Lagrima saloma parai, amallalo con l'amor d'orfiare, mia non sulla chiesa la c'era mo alla voce. Armis, ormenti le palorono, alla voce sulla chiesa. Riesana na ti, prune vaio sulla sella, e prendere vaia. L'olorime alle prone sottai, rendono con lei, al mondo alle se. Rimetto sia l'acqua, o lo monto e conto a lei. Sonali chiedere in mano, o la nana da treti, alla mamma provata da
Wow. That really took me somewhere else. Thank you.
Wow. Pleasure.
Yeah, so I connected what was it, 2 years now, Alexa, when we talked last, and she said, "Oh, well, I sing light language and I play guitar." And I was like, "Can I hear?" And she did it over the phone for me, and I was just bawling. It's like, I don't know what you did to me, but oh, it's incredible. Yeah, so a little shout out. She has Alexa. And I'll put all of this in the link to the YouTube video. She's got her own channel. She posts music, and it's absolutely divine. So check her out. Yeah, so I think this was pretty successful. I think we talked about a lot of different things and shared who we are as individuals and healers, and I thank everybody for participating and taking the time out to make this connection. And of course, the sending love and light to Gaia is so profoundly important to me. It's why I'm breathing on Earth right now, is to do this type of healing. So I thank you all for participating so much.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
organizing it and bringing it together and letting these conversations happen, because they're so, it's deplete, it needs to be filled up, and so people can access this kind of information. I really feel that. So thank you.
Yeah, my goal is to normalize
Yeah. Yeah.
this. And yeah, like you said, have anybody who's resonating with it be able to find it much easier.
Mm. Yeah, because like the one thing you don't want to be doing when you're discovering light language is getting in the head about it. You know, you want to be practicing it, but these conversations, these heart-based conversations where we're speaking about our experiences, going to help people to settle back into the heart, and so important and lovely to be part of. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Very grateful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I'll leave it open to, you know, future conversations and maybe doing some sort of series and bringing other folks in as well to talk about experiences and you know, maybe in the future perhaps talking about how we've seen as healers this affect the people that we're working with would be a great next conversation. So awesome. Again, thank you so much. If anybody has anything they'd like to promote as far as their channels or their businesses or their websites, go for it.
Yeah, you can just leave my links as well of my YouTube channel. I am not taking any more new clients for 2021, but I will be taking bookings in for next year. And I also do a collective healing once a month. George knows, where just for $12, 45 minutes of channeled light language. It's very cheap for you guys, and you get really, really intense codes coming through. It is done on the date, so it's really, really relevant to the frequencies and the energies that are coming through at that moment in time. There are recordings available on my website as well, but it's a really nice way of supporting me. It's accessible to everyone. That's why I do it every month, because I want everyone to be able to access it for $12. And then, yeah, you can just check out my link to my website and all my different services and everything that I offer. I also do live clearings twice a month on new moon and full moon on my Instagram. So if you tune into that, you're going to get a live energy clearing, like free clearing of whatever comes through, and you get to ask me questions live as well, which is wonderful. So yeah, I think that's about everything from my side, but thank you.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, and for me, like you said, Amanda will leave my links, and if there's anyone that feels like you'd like to connect with me personally, I'm just a spontaneous, I work with it all spontaneously without any plan, always dancing with what presents and just responding to that through mostly music and sound and other healing techniques, as well as artwork and codes and stuff as well. But yeah, if you feel it, then just reach out and connect, and I'll be there. I'll be there.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much, George. Thank you for this great idea to bring people on, and yeah, we'll see what comes up in the future if we want to do this again.